Thank you, Greg. Well, good morning to everybody, or good afternoon. Welcome back to our DSATS officer meeting. I know it's been, I feel like, quite some time since we've all been able to sit down and meet, at least post ATC. We had the in-person meeting, but apart from that, I don't think we've had the chance to meet in person. So hello to everybody I haven't had the chance to meet or talk with in the last couple of months. We have lots of exciting updates, more so just to kind of recap on the year, talk about what we've done, where we are, and then touch base on some of the kind of planning and the things that are happening in the coming year. So we'll have a quick recap, go over some general updates. I don't know if Moray will actually be able to join. I never got confirmation from him, but we'll give a quick update on symposium planning, some subcommittee updates, and then a general marketing update as well. So to start with the recap, we've had an exciting fall, right? The refocus, restructuring has kind of come to fruition, and we've gone through kind of our big renaming effort that was all launched at ATCE. And since then, we've had our SPE live and been busy planning for some of the events for next year, just to kind of get everything planned and set up. There's been a lot of exciting work happening in the background. For technical section updates, I'll quick hand it over to Cody to give a quick recap on membership updates, especially post
Thanks.
refocus.
Thanks, Blakely. Yeah, it's pretty amazing to see when those new events that we had, and then the live meeting, the webinars. Look at the uptick that's circled on the slide there with the membership by year. Pretty much all the graphs we're seeing quite a bit of growth, and some of that is natural, and some of that is a direct result of new the events that we've been putting on and increasing user engagement. We're going to start tracking our LinkedIn followers for the page on LinkedIn, and then I'm working on following the metrics for each of the events and being able to track them over time. So it's a bit of a manual process right now, but as we talked about before, the number of members is one thing, but it's really the engagement and how active each of the members are is what really matters. So pretty exciting to see this. When I pulled these for the first time, it was pretty surprising. So it's paying off, all the effort. So huge kudos to everyone involved with everything that we've done to get kind of these new events going. And I think this is just kind of the very beginning for what we can do.
It's great.
Yeah, I think this is really exciting. I mean, that's a significant jump, and I don't know how like pre-2024 was, but I mean, we've always explained the solid growth throughout the year of just people renewing memberships. But I think this shows like the concentrated effort really has paid from an engagement and a membership perspective. I think what's important now is, like a lot of us has talked about, is like how do we translate that into kind of like long-term support, volunteer efforts. Like we want to make sure that people didn't sign up just for the momentum and then we lose everybody in the next 6 months. So I think that'll be like a very important piece with the symposium and everything that we do next year as well, just to kind of keep everything exciting, interested, and really bringing value to all the people that are signed up for our technical section, which is really, really neat. Thank you, Cody. I really appreciate you putting this together. Especially with some of the other metrics we want to track, I recognize that that's manual. So I know we'll find better ways to track them long term, but short term, we appreciate you powering through it. Shashi, you have a question?
Yeah, it was on the student membership. Are we doing anything? I guess we don't have a student chair. So once we get the student chair, I guess they can start focusing on how do we start engaging the students better, right? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I think my hope is that once we have kind of that university chair and Jeff working together, we can really start to see that number improve, as well as like identify what that demographic needs as well, because it's going to be quite different than some of the other folks in the technical section as well.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Next, wanted to give a quick update on officer elections that are coming up in 2026. So I have a quick list of the different positions that we'll have coming available. Some of these are, with Rhiam last year, she kind of absorbed 2 roles within the election cycle. Over the year, I think we've quickly realized that's a lot of work, especially with the focus on kind of like marketing and website and everything. So we're going to separate back out those roles just to make sure that we can kind of level the workload. The Nestor and Serafima are both coming up on the end of their election terms. So they'll be stepping away from the program chairs specifically, not to say they couldn't step into other positions if they'd like to. And we would also love that. Moray will be stepping down as program chair and lead program chair for North America. And then for some of the other regions, we've had minimal to 0 participation from them. And when we've reached out over the past kind of like 6-8 months, we haven't gotten any feedback, in fact. So we have a few of those regional chairs stepping down as well that we'll be looking to renew. The other one on this list is the University Relations Chair. Another one we haven't really gotten a lot of feedback or participation from. And as we just discussed on that last slide, right, I think it's very critical that we do better, both from a robotics perspective, of bridging the gap to YP, and really bridging that gap between academia and industry. We need to have a very strong and active participant for this University Relations Chair. So that'll be coming up as well. So the process from here, we're going to be standing up a nomination committee. Shashi has very graciously volunteered to lead the nomination committee this year. And he'll be joined by 2 others after he kind of decides who that will be. I know Robert will be supporting as well from afar. Generally, the timeline this year, we have to have essentially nominations sent out 45 days with a bit of a buffer before the symposium in March. That puts us right around the week of January 12th, which is about a month away, a relatively short timeline. So I know it may be a little bit of a challenge. That January 12th has a bit of a buffer, so I think we have a little bit of wiggle room, but generally speaking, that's when we want to try to have everything buttoned up, if you will, so that we have time. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I
Go ahead.
just saw a sign saying recording and transcription started by an unknown user. Greg had started it earlier on. So I'm wondering who started that one now.
Let's check. Greg started it but left, so maybe the unknown user is that it's just SP.
Keep it going on, maybe.
Let's check.
Okay. Just hate to have something else because I don't see any unknown users on our list.
I don't either.
Well, maybe it's still Greg then.
Yeah.
It says on my end when I hover over the record button, recording and transcription started by Greg Hickey.
Yeah.
So I think it should be fine.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks. Sorry.
Yeah. No worries. Thanks, Robert.
Good. Yep.
Good catch. Bit of a sponsorship update and how we're managing sponsors for the upcoming symposium event. As we moved through the symposium planning process, as well as got moving with the Drillbotics competition planning, kickoff signups, everything, we very quickly realized there was we needed to have a lot more focus on sponsorships to make sure that we could not only support the symposium, the Drillbotics booth that has historically been fully funded by SPE. They kind of handed us a bill for some of the charges for the booth as far as like space setup, etc. So and then Drillbotics in general just needed a little bit more support with funding because there's not a current guarantee for SPE funding for this competition cycle. So we really wanted to try to help support Enrique. So with the sponsorship specifically for the March cycle, when you see a lot of the content, you'll see that it's kind of threefold that we're supported. The sponsorship money will be supporting, and our sponsorship levels have increased respectively to make sure that we can try to, I guess, spread the dollar amount, if you will. I think in previous years, our platinum amount was only like $3,000 for the symposium. Now it's 5,000. And then you can see the breakdown below that. Shashi, I'll let you go first before we keep going.
I want to make sure I understood. You said SPE sent us a bill for the booth?
Yes. So
That should be free.
it should be. It should be. There's been a lot of back and forth on it. The space itself, like the booth space, they're not going to charge us for, but the furniture, the setup, the breakdown, etc., they are going to charge us for. It's not a huge cost. We within DSATS, we're going to help support that as well, but we want to partially support it with the sponsorship money and partially with DSATS funding.
I guess there's no going back. I mean, they've never charged us in the past for such things. I guess they want to spread the pain.
Yeah, I think considering, I mean, you've seen a lot of the SPE financials and kind of where the society stands as a whole. They've reevaluated a lot of what's going to happen in 2026. And I think this was one of the small things that they just immediately cut off that was like, we'll give you something, but not
everything.
Not everything.
Okay.
Yeah. Even with that, I mean, I think we're gonna, we won't be using all kind of like the immediately provided furniture that's exceptionally expensive for a small table kind of deal. We're gonna bring as much as we can, and I think we're gonna buy a stand off Amazon, and somebody has a TV that we'll use for our for everything. So we're gonna be as economical as possible, but still retain the booth. I think our fear was initially we wanted to just say like, no, thank you. We'll just do some signage around the conference, but the fear is you lose it entirely forever, right? So I think we all decided it was best to keep it so that we still have that visibility. We'll have the Enrique's got the mini rig from Texas A&M will be at the booth as well. So we'll still have some. We're going to make the most out of the booth space as well. So. So just as a general statement for everybody on the officer and board, I know that John sent out an email a little while ago and I followed up on there as well. Please reach out to your friends, your companies, etc. for potential sponsorships. The link is active on the website. That'll direct you straight to the sponsorship page. You can pay directly on there. You can also send us a check if you want to help us avoid the processing fees. And we have kind of that official letter as well if you need to send that to bosses, finance, marketing folks that ultimately approve the sponsorships that typically come. Demetrius, did you have a question? I saw you quick.
Did I? I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
No.
you're good. So we do already have 3 sponsors for the event. Baker Hughes and IPT have both committed for platinum sponsorships, and then Corva has committed for a gold sponsorship. So it's all very exciting that we already have some good momentum. I think there's definitely we still have a lot of time. So we're hoping this list grows over the next couple of months. But all very exciting both to support the symposium as well as robotics long-term.
I have a question on sponsorship, and it's really about how we frame it for marketing. I've kind of made like these events and all that are like our 2026 year, I guess. We kind of do things like annually. Okay, so is that like a January through December thing? And the reason I'm asking is because like as I am doing the marketing for it, I'm like, come be a 2026 DSATS platinum sponsor. You know what I mean? Do I keep doing that even past the symposium, or is like the season to become the sponsor just this? And I don't need an answer right now, but I'm just trying to think about how I frame it. Because like, I mean, I guess my intent from a marketing perspective, and I don't know if like people all agree with this or not, but I know Cody and I talked about it as far as IPT Global being a sponsor is like, I'm going to continue to post on LinkedIn and, you know, any opportunity I can get to like throw up a sponsor logo on there, I'm going to do. So maybe is that like be a 2026 sponsor and like get your logo on there through 2026. And then you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't hate it. I mean, I think historically the sponsorship has always like started and ended with the symposium.
events, right? Yeah,
it's never
exactly.
gone past that.
Right.
But I don't think we have to limit it there. And I think the sponsors effectively get more value if we continue that through.
Yeah. because then
some
it's
of
like,
the posting and future events too.
yeah, because then it's like the timeline is relevant, because then it's like, okay, well, it's the end of the end of 2026 is coming up, Cody. IPT Global. Do you guys want to stay featured? Like, if you don't do your sponsorship again, then your logo will no longer be there starting what, January 1, 2027. Like, that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around. And Demetrius,
Yeah.
maybe you have a response to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Give us some
until
history.
recently, the fiscal year for SPE and for us was from April 1st to March 31st. And that was how we were collecting, and that coincided with our symposium. And that's how the sponsorship was counting. For example, if you get money in April, that goes towards the symposium of next year. Now, that has changed. SPE went through a transition, and the fiscal year now coincides with the elections of SPE, which is at the ATC in October. So the fiscal year now is October 1st to September 30 for SPE.
Right.
And I imagine the same will apply for us, you know, as a technical section. So
It
we're
is.
all on the same page.
Okay.
What does that mean? I mean, it's kind of counterintuitive to me to go in May, for example, and say, do you want to become a sponsor for an event that happened already?
Right.
You know, I don't see that really working out. So even if money comes in May of 26, I think that counts as a sponsorship towards the 27 event. Now, how do we count that for tax purposes, you know, for reporting? I think it goes into the fiscal year where it came in, regardless of what event we're using it for, you know?
Yeah.
Does that make sense, or I confused completely everybody?
It makes sense, but I also don't know the answer to the question, meaning like,
Yeah.
Are we saying then that like, hey, your 2026 sponsorship gets you through September 30th? Is that the answer to the question? From a marketing perspective, I don't know anything about the tax.
Is it sponsorship that happens in a given period, or they're sponsoring a given event?
Yes. I think from a marketing perspective, the two don't have to align entirely. I do think if we're kind of shifting gears, and maybe this will warrant a bigger discussion, to saying like, if you sponsor now, you get your, especially as a platinum sponsor, maybe you get your signage on all the 2026 posting material consistently. I think from a tax purpose, it's still going to fall within the fiscal year that there shouldn't be no, right? Like if it's within our current fiscal year, which just switched over to the new kind of September to October cycle, then that's the fiscal year that it gets reported in. I think from a marketing perspective, if it's like you get it in 2027, that's fine.
I said John has a comment.
Yeah, I was gonna say, John, correct us please if we're wrong.
If I hadn't thought about this, but okay, it's always been for the event, right? But if you make it for the year, say, so you sponsor now for 2026, and that would make sense from a company's budget, but it also makes it far easier for a company to justify sponsoring it for a year. Particularly me, I
And
go
it
in
puts a
there and
little
say,
pressure
by the
on,
way, I spent this amount of money, but it's for a year, not just for an event. Yeah.
Yes.
I think the
it'll
difference
help
here is that
encourage
we weren't.
companies to.
Go ahead, Cody.
Oh, I was just going to say it will help encourage companies to pay early as well too. So there's good and bad with that, because whatever events are first, you know, there's more incentive to sponsor. But the good news is that once you get in, then you get the most value for a company. I'm just wondering what happens at the end of the year if we have an event we really need money for. Maybe it rolls to the next year. I don't know, but it's good or bad. It basically incentivizes companies to sponsor, you know, early in the year, which I think could be great for us.
But then if it's just for a particular event, then you just have an event sponsor. The same as the SPE divides up its sponsorship, right?
Yeah. There's the like executive sponsorships that do like SPE level funding versus like ATC sponsors in a sense.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But Cody, I don't think we're limited to. Oh, go ahead.
It allows you to keep the event sponsorship at a lower level than say the annual sponsorship, because 5,000 is quite a grab. Huh?
True.
especially just now.
You know,
right?
there's another, I know that like the distinction between silver to gold to platinum, like the difference between them is like how much airtime you get during the event. You know what I mean? Like you have 2 slides versus 4 slides or what have you. I think, I'm going to be putting pressure on myself here, but I think with the added facet of us being more present on LinkedIn and social media and posting every other week or every week or what have you, maybe that is an element of the levels that we can play upon. Meaning, like, do you want your logo on a post every other week versus every month versus every week? You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I haven't figured out how to mechanically do that yet, but just something that's to consider. I don't know. Which to the point is, which makes it relevant throughout the year as opposed to event specific. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Okay. Again, not intending to solve it and wasn't even intending to ask the question today, but it just dawned on me how to do that. Robert, did you have an idea on that?
Yeah, I think I was just really following up on John's thing. If it's an annual sponsorship, then the company actually gets representation at 2 events, right, rather than 1. And it does allow you those extra sponsorships for individual events. And Room, that's great ideas in terms of the additional visibility through the year. So yeah. I think that's excellent. The other thing you have to remember is that corporate budgets are usually put in October.
Yeah.
September, October, you're all very aware of that.
Yeah.
And then so you have to really get that applied, get that approved by that time for disbursement in the following year. So if you're wanting like 2026 sponsorships, really should have probably been in their budget back in October, November. So it's just something for future, maybe try and get ahead of the game.
It's far easier to get the money if you put it up, ask for it in October, because then it's rolled into the budget and it's available, right?
Yeah.
Rather than coming up for an event and saying, hey, we just got our budget settled and we need money.
But that's the future. That's a future thing we're passing on now.
I should know the answer to this question, Robert. You said 2 events. So we're talking about the symposium and
reception
drilling
at ATC.
So you've got the drilling conference,
ATCE reception. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this will warrant a lot more conversation just to decide how we do it this year and future years. I think, Robert, the point on making sure that we get in before budgeting season or during budgeting season is the right approach if we want to do especially these like larger annual sponsors. Because event sponsorships, like, yes, it's still a pain to get approval for these types of numbers, but I think, you know, we still somehow make it work with at least some, because all companies have, at least larger companies always have some sort of like sponsorship budget that they don't have fully allocated, but it's kind of, you get some, as long as you get the appropriate approvals, it's already set aside. But I do think we should probably rethink how we want to do that in preparing for 27. I think for this year, I'm aligned. Like if you're a platinum sponsor for this event, it's really for 2. The problem will be, we'll have to think about where the funds go. Like, will we have enough to fund because that means we're funding 4 things with these 3 sponsors currently.
What are the 4 things?
If we add on the ATC reception, because there is cost associated with the ATC reception that we need covered.
Yeah.
Above and beyond the tickets.
We do need to,
but
looking at this,
we can't get more sponsors.
Hold on, one at a time.
Basically, we have to have an annual budget rather than individual event budget.
Yeah, correct. Go ahead, Cody.
Oh, I was just saying the 3 sponsors, that doesn't represent everything. So we can get more sponsors throughout the year, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying like we're limited to 3. We're not taking any more. We will take all the sponsors.
And I think the thing is with the value we show in the beginning, because, you know, the more we talk about this, the better it gets from sponsor point of view. So I think then it becomes an easier sell for, you know, more and more companies.
Yes. Yeah, wholly agree. I think this is kind of like you guys will really get to like test the waters on value perceived over the next 6 months, and hopefully can give us some good feedback between John and Cody. And of course we can check in with the Corva folks as well, as far as like return on investment so we can improve how we manage sponsors in the future too.
And apologies to the treasurer about an annual budget thing. I just realized I'm not doing that for the wellbore positioning technical section either. So I better get my finger out and try that approach myself.
Yeah, fair. You're taking notes like, oh, maybe I need to do that there too. Yeah, no, I don't see Sam wasn't able to join this morning. Must be busy out in the field. I know a lot of our developers are on rigs right now, so okay. Moray's not here, so I don't want to totally speak for the symposium planning. I will give a very short update, but it won't be kind of like a full thorough update. We have our confirmed panelists. So Eric Kolstad will be joining from the operator perspective. He is currently working as a VP of Wells at Caterus Energy. He has a really interesting background of both larger operators and some of these smaller privately funded. But throughout his history, at least the time that I've known him, he's had a very big focus on deploying technology from a value perspective. So I think he'll have a really good kind of view on the conversation. Austin Gruber will be our rig contractor representative. Moray will be our service provider representative. And then David Reed will be our OEM rep for the panel. On that panel, we'll ask them kind of very specific questions that will lead into kind of the work groups that we'll move into. I think we've all kind of talked about it. You guys know the general framework. The work groups is where we'll really almost model what we did at the forum last fall, so that we can have really good conversations on specific topics. And we're hoping that the output of that symposium will really help almost set a framework and a roadmap, if you will, for the next 3 to 5 years on where we as a technical section need to be fully focused and adding the most amount of value. After that, I think at the end, we'll have like a small networking reception before we go. I don't know, Riem, are there any updates for any other new updates, I guess, for symposium planning? No,
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think just, I don't think it's an update, but like, I know for the panel there, y'all are going to have a meeting in January to get that going. And I think that there's also another, for the work groups, there's another meeting that needs to be scheduled to coach the topic leaders. So those are the two things. Yeah. It's like,
And then the third is that I've reached out to Alex and Trenton from ART, just so that we can give them this is our plan, this is what the event's going to be, and also get some kind of feedback on their slides, because they always give like a quick ART update, and we do our DSATS update before we kind of get started with the meat of the event. And also see if they want to have any feedback. It may be beneficial. I think we're kind of set on table leaders, but it would be good maybe to get them a bit more involved just from a planning perspective as well.
Okay.
I believe that's
leading. I know the one with the panelists, that's John DeWart, because he's going to be moderating. So he's scheduling that. The meeting that's to be for the topic and table leaders, is that Moray scheduling that?
That's Moray. Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm leading the one of the topics forever, but like I don't really understand that structure. I don't remember what it's called.
I think Moray was going to table that until January. I don't think that's going to happen until the new year. For the panelists, I was going to like initiate the conversation since John hadn't talked to them directly, and then he'll schedule a time in January. I'll probably join as well, but
okay.
I want to make sure
I'm going to be in that too.
Yes.
To get quotes from them. So I'm going to get like full quotes from them, and that's going to be part of the social media stuff. Yeah.
Yes. That'll be exciting. Yeah. Good. Does anyone have any major kind of questions on the symposium planning efforts or feedback, things to consider?
For the networking reception, is there any like kind of like for the ATC networking reception, is there anyone speaking or anything that we need to prepare for? Okay, it's just networking.
No. I think by the end of that, we don't want anyone. I think everyone's going to be spoken out, if you will.
No talking.
Yeah, exactly.
No preaching.
Yes. There'll be some like decompress before dinner time, if you will.
Okay. Oh, and there's a dinner.
No.
Okay.
But the event ends like, I want to say like 5:30. Okay. 5:30, something like that.
Okay.
Got it. So subcommittee updates. I have a quick update for Drobotics, but I wanted to open the floor up to Matt to give an update on DWIZ as well, because I know there's a lot of exciting things happening there, in line with the drilling conference as well, both for upcoming demos and a drilling conference.
All right. Did you want me to give the marketing message just for everybody's edification? I think I can do that in
Yeah.
about 10 minutes.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Let me see if I can share this.
Go for it.
All right. While I'm calling that up. So DWIZ is going to do an event on March 20th following the IDC SPE drilling conference. And this is the first half of it's going to be kind of a call to action for decision makers. And then the second half of it will be aimed at giving users what they need to know about accessing the technology. So we'll run through our GitHub site, and hopefully at that time we'll have kind of a minimum viable product. It's going to require some work to put it together so that everybody can see clearly about what to download in terms of software, how to put it together with the system and actually get it up and running. So this is a presentation that we put together for the marketing part of it, right, for decision makers. And then it'll be followed up with a presentation that goes along with the more technical details on educating a user how to access all of the information and the technology. And with that, so one of the things we've been struggling with, we've been talking about DWIZ for so long that it becomes its own word, right? And whenever we approach a decision maker, we're kind of talking about the it. And most of the decision makers, for some reason, aren't clear about what it is. So we thought we would come up with a way to describe that, right? So really what we're talking about is an interoperable communication layer, right? Which we believe is the way to go for the future. All right, so I mean, here's a situation that we want to, hopefully people will identify with, where you're an operator, contractor, or service provider. And the specifics here really are around, how do you use an advisory system combined with the rig measurements and recommend or implement actions using the rig's drilling automation system, right? So what we're talking about here is an interoperability layer that will connect those things and then enable those modern digital workflows. So, why do we want to do this? There's a Peter Drucker thing about doing the right thing more rightly. And, the right thing here is achieving the desired business outcome, which is delivering the well. And of course, more rightly is efficiency, safety, and effectiveness. Right. And, kind of the underlying idea behind all this is that we're helping people perform important operations without thinking about them, right? That's really kind of the big picture vision that we're trying to embrace here, right? So how does that relate to DWIZ? Well, it's a world where advisory systems and drilling automation talk to one another and understand where they're at in terms of the drilling state and what happens next, and they're capable of prioritizing those instructions and managing that overall system, right? So in terms of what that takes to do that, there's a backbone for the interoperability piece, right? Which is your common layer linking advisory and automated control system. There's an engine that determines the process state, which is very important to synchronize across all the different drilling advisory systems. And then there's a method to provide coordinated guidance, right, which prioritizes what's going to happen next and what the different priorities are, right? Because, there's lots of different contexts that are in play And it doesn't do anybody any good if we recommend a whole bunch of different actions, but really don't provide any sense of prioritization to what should happen next. Right, and then the deliverables themselves, which are around an open vendor agnostic framework, common semantics, interfaces, and architectures. This is getting into the technical details, provide reference components that vendors can adopt or certify against, right? And again, this is highly distilled. If you get into the details, which the users will want to, then there can be quite a bit more information that you need to understand about these things. But what we're trying to do is communicate to the decision makers why they should be thinking about this and how to leverage it. All right, so what is it, right? It's the interoperability layer. So the little dotted box there around the different components is really the DWIS architecture and the key technologies that make it up. So, whenever we talk about DWIS, whenever we talk about it, then really what we're talking about is a system, right? A set of processes and enabling tools. So it's not a product in and of itself, right? It's a method for communication and enabling ways for advisory systems and drilling automation systems to talk to one another. All right, so how does it work? We've talked a little bit about the components, right? So the advisory systems connect into the DWIS backbone. The DWIS backbone provides that shared data context, right? So the drilling states and other useful information about measurements and things like that. The process state model keeps everything in sync in terms of what's doing now and kind of keeping your overall place in the plan as well as what's happening right now. The scheduler turns the advice into an executable rig action plan. And the composer consolidates and sends the final recommendation. And then the rig's automated drilling control system has a way to accept that communication and execute it. Right. So in a nutshell, that's how this works. So the call to action is really around enabling the system. So the foundation of the DWIS system is nearly complete. What that means is the technologies and the methods and the processes, systems, and tools are nearly complete and ready to try. But we need pilots, right? Eric has been setting up a series of demonstrations to help validate and refine the framework, and now we need others to start doing the same thing. So we need participation from the operators, contractors, and service providers to do that. The DWIS group itself, is thinking past this implementation, right? So we want not only to get it implemented, but we also want to sustain it. To do that, we need these pilots. We need to convene continuous feedback, right, to improve this system. So that's where we are on our marketing message. And then the session 2 will be really around the details to access the technology and core components. So we're still taking feedback on this presentation, right? I mean, we've simplified the message a great deal. If you see opportunities to highlight and simplify it, please let me know. And we'll continue to work on it. We have until March 20th, which is when we have our day. We're working on getting the registration and everything set up for the event and the site. In the meantime, work continues. This Friday, Eric will do another demonstration. And if you want an invite to that, you can reach out to him or me, and we'll forward it to you. Hopefully everybody already has that. We continue our bi-weekly meetings, making progress. It's a small group now, probably because of the holidays and largely because a lot of the work has been finished. But we're always eager for more participation. So if you're interested in being involved in this work as we turn our attention to implementing it, I encourage you to show up for one of our Friday meetings. Questions, comments?
I have
I think it-
multiple.
Uh,
Just as far as like getting involved. So this meeting on the 20th, I know we talked, is there any sponsorship required? Again, marketing hat on. Is there any like sponsorship required, or is there anything I should be putting out about, hey, come join this meeting? Is there a certain way to register for the meeting? Things like that. Like, is there anything I should be communicating about the meeting itself? Like to generate interest or attendance or what have you?
Yeah, so I sent out an email earlier this week that
Okay.
basically requests support for that, right? I mean,
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
the way that it's worked in the past is we've got the registration stuff up on the website first, and then we send out a series of email blasts to DSATS and DWIS members and continue to recruit. At that point, we start seeing if anybody wants to sponsor and things like that. And then we continue that push all the way into March, where we hold the event.
Okay. The registration on the website, is that like on DSAT's website and click here and register and you pay, or is it?
That's what we've done in the past.
Okay. And it's meaning we are going to do it again.
Well, and unless you have an alternative, we're happy to do what's ever easiest for anybody, but I mean, that's what we've done in the past.
And meaning like the amount for the registration is something that like DSAT's budget is relying on, right? Like that's something, or is it not, does it not go to big DSATs? It goes to DWIS. Again, I'm sorry for the ignorance.
There's a DWIS sub account that's part of the DSATS account.
Okay.
Matt, I might have had a micro sleep. Whereabouts is the event going to take place?
It'll be taking place at Patterson's training facility on the Beltway, close to the airport.
Great,
for
thanks.
those who need to fly out later in the day.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, and Matt, I can get with you more offline on this because I know the email that you're talking about. These are like the kind of details I want to better understand so I can communicate it, right? So like when you're talking about registering or you're talking about sponsoring, right? As a sponsor, here's where your money goes towards, right? We're sponsoring just this event. And the dollars go to that event, or the dollars go through the efforts throughout the year for DWIS. You know, like those are the things that I want to better understand.
Sure.
Okay.
We'll schedule a follow-up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then these things like Eric's demonstrations and that kind of thing, that's also something that we can promote, right? Do we want, like, is that open to the public where like I post on LinkedIn and I say, hey, there's this demonstration coming up. You want to see DWIS in action? Here's how you do that. You know, is that something we want to do also?
Eric is online, I think. Eric, do you want to field that one?
Yes, it's open to everybody. Yeah, but they need to get an invitation from Teams, and I'm happy to send the forward the invitation to anybody who would need it.
Okay, Eric, I'll schedule something with you for me to better understand that as well. Here's.
But the demonstration is tomorrow, so.
Oh, it's tomorrow. Okay, well, when's the next one? When's the one after that?
The next is planned end of January.
Okay. I will. Well, then I would like an invitation to the demonstration so I can kind of see what
Sure,
that is, and then
can do that.
yeah, and then it'll help me frame how to talk about the January one. Okay.
At the moment, there are 69 persons registered for the demonstration tomorrow.
Okay, very cool.
That's separate from the regular DWIS meeting tomorrow then?
Yeah, that's different.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Do you want an invitation, Robert?
I probably don't have time for tomorrow, I'm afraid.
Are they recorded?
Yeah, they're recorded. And the recording is placed on the MS Team sites, which can be open to anybody who needs to have access to that. And all the demonstrations are recorded and available there. So.
Okay. And what was the site again, Eric? I missed that.
Sorry?
What site did you say it was posted on?
Yeah, we have Microsoft Teams site actually for this Davis use case coordination meetings, and that's there. So at the moment, I think there are 150 people having access to that team site, but I can add more people.
Okay.
Anybody who want to have access, so I give access.
Okay. I think this is very, I'm asking all these questions because like this is very tangible work that DSATS does that I think like more people understanding what is happening and also understanding how do I get more involved or how do I get more exposure to this can generate more, you know, what I know Cody's not on call right now, but like engagement. Like this is a or not tactical, tangible way to get engagement from people if we bring more awareness. That's why I'm very interested in this.
Sure.
Okay, cool. Look forward to it tomorrow, Eric. And Matt, this is really good stuff. I know you and I talked a while ago about this, and this is like so much simpler to understand. I think it's really nicely done.
Well, it's not vice president tested yet, so.
We will get there. You're on mute, Blakely.
I know. Sorry, I was looking for the mute button as I was saying. Awesome. So my apologies. Okay. Let me reshare my screen. Hold on 1 second. We've got a friend here. Okay, apologize. Okay, so for robotics, Enrique wasn't able to join, but I've got a quick update for you guys on the competition and progress that we're making. So participation and engagement, we moved back the final sign-up date to essentially the end of the month, just so that we could leave some room for additional signups following the SPE Live. The original end date, I think, was like November 31st or something to that extent. From pre-SPE Live to post-SPE Live, I think pre-SPE Live, we only had about 5 teams signed up. After that, we have 8 total, 6 physical and 2 virtual, across 5 different countries, which is exciting. It sounds like their University of Pennsylvania is preparing their phase 1 report, which would be a 3rd virtual competitor, which is exciting. The virtual side of the competition is obviously very new, but I think will be a much easier kind of point of entry for a lot of other colleges to be able to participate with a little bit less of a either time or financial commitment as well. So that's very exciting, and I'm anxious to see how that kind of pans out throughout the competition. Enrique says he plans for 5 total finalists to advance, following kind of like the January review in phase 1. And I think Russia, he said he has to confirm if they're allowed to participate from US sanctions. That's the first I'd heard of that, but probably a good point. I know we all were very like shocked when we saw a Russian university on the list, so I think it would be really great if they're able to participate. For outreach and marketing, we have 4 new judges onboarded. I don't know the full makeup of the judges so far that Enrique has listed, but Curtis Cheatham from Corva will be volunteering to judge as well. We confirmed that last week. He's presented at the SPE GCS Drilling Study Group. He has some quick stats on the SPE Live that we had on the 3rd. Texas A&M confirmed that the Drillbotics, their kind of mini rig will be at the Drillbotics booth in Galveston. He also updated both the Drillbotics website and the guidelines website to make sure everything is fixed. He updated it with new guidelines and outdated links. The original Drillbotics website and the guidelines website are kind of hosted on 2 separate platforms, so he just made sure that everything on the primary Drillbotics website was updated. We've got some flags and stands for the Drillbotics booth, and we're still working on securing sponsorships. Go ahead, Robert.
I didn't realize that. That's good.
Oh, you're on mute, Robert. Sorry.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm still working on wellbore positioning technical section as a sponsor for Drillbotics.
Good.
And I need to talk to Enrique. A couple of the concerns are making sure that we have sort of value for money, which I've got some ideas on that in terms of being able to link the groups to wellbore positioning technical section as well as DSATS, and also the long-term viability of Drillbotics. So I think we need to work on that a little bit. And I feel bad that Enrique seems to be having to lead this all on his own. So if he's got a good support structure around him that is maybe a kind of subcommittee or whatever else, I'm not quite sure how that all goes. But that might give some continuity, which would then help potential sponsors feel good about the longevity of the whole organization.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think yes, Enrique has kind of he took everything from Fred and similar to Fred is more or less managing everything by himself. I think we've all tried to get involved and help him in like whether it's marketing or our respective areas from a sponsorship perspective, etc. But I do worry that this is a lot to manage by himself. And if we want the competition to really like naturally grow year over year, he's going to need more support than just doing it himself.
Yeah.
So I think if we can get somebody involved that's like essentially like subcommittee co-chair or something to that effect, the more kind of firepower he has, the better.
Yeah, these things don't happen overnight. But I'm thinking in terms of like you've got his subcommittee, he's looking after it and in charge, obviously, but having a formal subcommittee with people actually attached to that kind of as part of that group.
Yeah. And maybe can we make it like university chair too? Should maybe jump in?
Yeah, absolutely. The university chair and Enrique should be close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just thinking more formalizing a whole group support structure for them. So what people, you've got the volunteers that are in there that are looking to extend more than just 1 year or one event kind of thing. So it may be an offline discussion, but I just wanted to bring that up at the board level and say we need to be thinking about how to help and support Enrique and future people with that.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up. I think we've all felt that, but you calling it out, I think, is important, that we need to make some plans to do that long term, or else we run into one person trying to drag the competition. And it's really, it's too much to do for one person to be successful. And then even long term, you lose any sort of continuity or what have you. Go ahead, Shashi.
I was going to say I concur with Robert. I met Enrique and Fred last week for lunch, right? And we were talking about logistics for the booth and all that. Yeah, Enrique needs help. I volunteered to help him with the judging, coordinating the judging for the phase 1. So I think I can take care of that, but long term, plus he can then start having somebody who can mentor to potentially take over when Enrique rolls off, right?
Yes.
So,
yeah. And I know people like yourself and marketing people that have been supporting him in the past and just really supporting the whole thing and moving it forward. But it's kind of an ad hoc attachment. So I think this will really help.
He needs his own little committee, if you will.
Yes.
Like 3 or 4 people that are just like, he can say, hey, I need you to focus on this, that, the third.
You know,
that's more than just.
This meeting is like officers board and all that, but I know that we used to have one that's like broader, like all of DSATS and that kind of thing. So I'm wondering, whenever we bring that back online, this is an agenda item of like, you want to know how to get involved with DSATS? Here's where we need some help with Drillbotics, right? And I think what would be even more helpful than just that is to be very clear on like what needs to happen, right? So I'm happy to work with Enrique on this, and like whenever I'm looking at a project, I always say like, what are the buckets? So like Shashi already mentioned, he's like, oh, I'm happy to help with like arranging the judges. Okay, like I didn't even realize that was a bucket, like that was a thing to do. And
Mhm.
so there are like, we can kind of divvy this up, you know what I mean? Like we do with
Yes.
the symposium, like there's a marketing effort, there is a, we need to get the venue effort, there's a this
Mhm.
effort. Like if we could not just say, hey, raise your hand for volunteers, I think we could help
Oh.
Enrique with developing an actual like functional and like committee. If we say like, we need somebody who's in charge of this, we need somebody who's in charge of this and this and this, and then it's like, then people's natural talent will be like, oh, well, I'm good at that, I can
Yes.
help with that. Or
Yes.
natural
And
talent, natural interest. You
it's
know?
easier to
Great
sign up for
approach.
something if you know exactly what you're doing and what your expectations will be. To
Exactly.
just be like, yeah, I'll help with robotics. I have no idea what
help,
that
but I don't
means.
really know what it
Versus like,
means.
oh, I'm decent with marketing, or oh, I'm decent at whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can do that.
yeah.
That's no problem.
So what I'm saying is like, perhaps that isn't, and again, this is because I don't know enough about how drill robotics works, and therefore what help is needed.
Mhm.
But we can do something like that, you know.
Yes.
And again, like I don't know when we plan to start these broader meetings. So if that is not the venue to say, hey, we need some volunteers, we can work it another way. We can work it on LinkedIn, for example, and
Yeah.
say, hey, we're looking for help for drill robotics, you know, or we could do an email blast. I'm happy to, I don't know how to get the email addresses, but like I'm happy to do that as well. You know,
Well,
like
Greg will do that. I mean, if we put together the email, you just send
The
the text to
content?
Greg and he can send
Yeah.
it to the entire technical section through Informs.
yeah.
So that's
it's-
easy too.
Okay, so
That's a
the-
great approach. That's good approaches, Room. Just need to make sure we end up with a team rather than a bunch of scattered individuals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Okay. So, all right.
Okay.
I will write something down. I don't know what it is, but I will write something down. To
Yeah,
that
I mean,
effect.
it's just maybe the action Ram is on you and I to follow up
Okay.
specifically with Enrique and then come up with a plan. I mean,
Yes. Okay.
I don't think it's too late to get him some support for this cycle, but definitely like
Agreed.
hopefully we
Agreed.
can find some folks that will stick around too for the future. But we would
Yeah,
need to, I mean, it's just a bad season to try to get people to sign up and volunteer. I don't think we'll get a lot until January, which is tough, but still better than.
Combining Room's approach there with the bucketing of the tasks, that
Yeah.
can help maybe get people in place to help this time, and then that starts to form the shape for the future, because that'll help
Yes.
maybe show up where the extra work is or where the holes are. So
Then we're
great
putting an
job.
infrastructure in place, right? Like a framework. And then it's like,
Mhm.
after
Yeah.
this cycle, we're going to need this again for 2027. Who wants to be that person for 2027? You know, like, and we can modify it as needed, but like, let's start somewhere structured.
I can help out this challenge here, right? I've done it before. I know what's involved, and
There you go.
I know Enrique well, so I can help him. But future, we need some permanent support, permanent
Yeah.
volunteer support.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So next piece for robotics, I think his immediate needs and actions. For finance, confirm target budget and finalize price structure. This is tough because we have to finalize, I think, both the robotics budget and the symposium budget and kind of rationalize that with the sponsors that we currently have, and the sponsors that are specific to robotics. So that I think is one that probably he needs some support on, just with budgeting and sponsorship. If we're talking about buckets, I'd say sponsorship and finance is probably one of them.
Yeah, sorry if I jumped the gun with my comments.
Yeah, he put it there. Don't you worry. He's already signed you up, even if you haven't fully signed yourself.
You have been voluntold, Robert.
Yes. Yeah. It looks like we have a request for some rock samples from John from Baker, just so that we can have that for the competition itself. And then as a timeline update, judges to review phase 1 reports in January, late January. On February 25th, we have a SPE live, and that'll be utilized to showcase the finalists. This was kind of lucky in a sense. Every year we get one SPE live through SPE. When they initially sent out you get kind of a random date assigned to you for all the technical sections. And when we first got it, it was like, well, that's very close to the one that we just had. And I wasn't really sure what we were going to do, but Riam had the good idea, like, let's get the finalists on there for robotics, or keep it because we'll have something to talk about. So I think this is a really good opportunity as well for the finalists as like an incentive to participate too, because they get a lot of visibility through the SPU Live and show off what they're doing. So beneficial for both the competition as well as for the participants as well. Yeah, go ahead, John.
So it's first I'm hearing about this rock samples.
Ah,
Yeah. So,
okay.
yeah, we've done this in the past. Actually, we've attempted to do it in the past and failed miserably. So,
Oh no.
but if you get me the details and then exactly what they're needing, if it's a core or a block or whatever, yeah, and we'll see
Okay.
what we can do. If not, we can arrange who to get it from and stuff like that.
Okay. Has Enrique reached out to you yet, or you said this is the first time you're hearing?
This is the first time I'm hearing about it, unless you reached out and have completely forgotten about it. But
Okay.
this is for where's the contest going to be?
I'm not
think-
sure. I don't
John,
know
I
if
think
he's.
this would be virtual. So I'm guessing what he's looking for is for the teams in Europe, they'll need a rock sample. But I think in the past, we've had the teams, you go ahead and buy a rock sample with this compressive strength and use it in the competition. So we don't have to deal with the logistics nightmares, right?
If it's just for we're going to do the test again in Cella probably.
I don't know if
Klaus
he is
Thal-
planning to do that. We have to talk to him, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. To tell him to get in touch with me then, because last time we did it, Klausthal ended up finding the rocks. University of Klausthal, and they brought it along. We had a backup, but we didn't need it.
Okay. So I guess Riam, if you just put a point that we need to follow
Yeah.
up on that with Enrique.
Yeah, I've got it. On the previous slide, Blakely, and again, I'm sponsorship stuff. It says sponsors securing platinum sponsor seminar spot at Texas A&M University. What does that mean? That's
I don't
not to
know.
be confused with. Okay, I'll
I'm
ask
sure.
him about that.
That's why I didn't touch on it, because I wasn't 100% sure. I think that's one we have to follow up with him.
Okay, my like spidey
Um,
sense goes up. I'm like, sponsor? How? Why?
I don't know if
What?
that's him working with Texas with A&M on something else.
Okay, I'll tag up with him.
I don't know. Not 100% sure.
Okay.
The only other thing too on here with the Drillbotics booth, because we don't have like because of how the competition schedule fell this year, we won't have a team that is there to present their findings or to have their mini rig there, etc., like we have in previous years. So at the booth, we'll have the A&M rig live there, but the thought was to kind of like fill the booth with some of the folks from, like, Enrique will be there for the lion's share of it, but we've also thought about having like some like mini sessions with some folks, whether it's like Eric talking about DWIDs or Matt, Robert maybe talking about World War placement and what they're up to, just to kind of share the space with the sponsors or get a little bit more out of the booth so we can get some more, I guess, like excitement and attention, if you will. That's something that Enrique has been kind of deciding what he wants to do. I think those are all ideas we've kind of given him, but how that structure ultimately ends up, I'm not sure. Last piece, volunteer needs. I think this is all kind of what we've already talked about. The judges, we already have 4. I don't know if he's looking for more than 4 for phase 1. Steering committee, I don't know if anybody's currently on the steering committee. But I do think it would be good if maybe, I don't know what the time commitment is for the steering committee for Drillbotics, but I would say maybe like a Shashi, Robert, or John, Matt, somebody that may be a good opportunity to like help provide direction and be involved, but without being like on that kind of committee that we've talked about that's doing a lot of work, just to help make sure from like a strategy roadmap perspective we're heading in the right direction with the competition. And then mentors, technical advisors for new university teams entering the competition. Go ahead, Andre.
Okay, I've been a judge in the past
Okay.
for the Drillbotics, and I really think that at least some conversation should be done regarding the the format of the competition and what are the goals that we are seeking with the competition, because the way it is, it really depends on the past history. For instance, the winner from the year that I was, we really need, I really believe, although it's a lot of work, I really believe if we are willing, if we're wanting to get more participants, and sorry, my camera is closed.
Okay.
If we're wanting to get more participants and more presenters on this section, we really need to think what is the goal, the amount of work that we are planning to ask for the new teams, in order so teams that have a past history, they don't get a jump start, and it comes to a point that it's almost it's almost impossible for a new team to try to come up in 1 year, half a year probably, develop something that would caught attention. So I really think we should be talking about, okay, what is the goal here of this steering committee? I don't know if it is something to be done when to be done, but I really feel the need. That is something that I thought it was an opportunity for growth.
Yeah. I think that's very valid feedback. And being very new coming into this technical section and even into robotics, that you could see that as well. And even with the couple of university folks I've talked to that have participated have said it's like part of the barrier to entry to the competition is how much time and investment it takes to really be successful or even participate in the first place. And it kind of goes to what you're saying. If you participated last year, you already have a lot of that groundwork set. So you're at an advantage for the coming year. I know that's part of the reason why he split like the virtual versus the physical side of the competition, so that you could participate without having to build an entire rig and go through a lot of that. But would love to try to get you connected with Enrique and maybe talk through more of that in detail. Have you guys talked to it?
I've
Or
spoken
has-
in the past, but the agenda is not always possible to meet all the meetings. I know Enrique has done a great job, but I said my concerns in the past, and also while we are focusing, for instance, on hardware, considering the solutions that are going to be delivered by the teams, because if you do something virtual, it's way easier with the tools that we have, and you can the level, it's almost the same. But once you start talking about hardware, and first off, you're not going to develop something that is going to be done by, or it's going to be really affecting the industry. At least I don't see something that's going to really affect direction of drilling or so it's really something that we, at least in my mind, we should be trying to do a major review in order to say, okay, what are the clear objectives, what we want, and as you said, get the universities to give them feedback, like what is a project that we could work with new students so we can engage new students and say the oil industry is nice. There are challenging projects that you can come in, develop, you're going to gather skill, and then you will have more people coming into the industry.
Go ahead, Shashi.
And I guess just to add on to what Andre said, I think when I was running it along with Fred, right, our biggest challenge was you would have the same universities from Europe always wanting to participate, and it would be, and the winner would typically be a veteran, right? Somebody who's already done this before. That's part of the reason why we introduced the simulator type competition, right? The non-physical rig. But then we couldn't attract students or student teams to that. It felt, and if you look at the stats for this year, you can see there's like 6 for the physical rig and 2 for the simulation. So, but I think you have a point, Andre. It might be worth, instead of saying let's cater to what the current student teams want, what do we want this competition to look like, and we drive it rather than being driven by
the requests from existing student teams, right? Something for the steering committee, man. We'll sign you up.
Yeah, it sounds like you want to be on the steering committee, Andre.
Oh, yeah. Please.
But I think it's a very valid point, and it's it goes back to we have to, without good guidance, academia will run down paths that maybe aren't immediately valuable to industry. And it's like this competition is a good opportunity to make sure students are addressing that in a thoughtful way, that it's like real needs of today, as opposed to this is a cool project. You see a lot of things start to finish, but what's the application of it, etc. I definitely see what you're saying, or maybe even grow the competition. So it's like maybe this still exists, but we have some other components of it as well. What's unique, I think, about the competition, though, I will say, is that it forces teams to bring together more than just petroleum engineers to the project, because you have to understand some of the hardware components as well. So I do think there's value, but I can appreciate that that's not maybe everything. It's not totally hitting the mark, I guess. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, what's happened is that, right, so all the competitions done at universities that I've seen, you either have, for example, Shell's what was it called, concrete canoe, which I've seen before, but the next year it's improved upon a little bit, and so on and so forth. Or there's a Formula E1 team in Europe, and they would start, some group started it, and then the next generation of students further on, and that's the state we're in. I think somehow, as Sashi said, when you have hardware, you tend to attract more students. For example, it was a group, maybe it was Clausthal, I can't remember. No, it was one of the Scandinavian universities won one year, and the control system they put together was really good. Maybe it was Clausthal. They adopted DWIS.
NTNU,
They built
I guess.
a control. NTNU? Okay.
Yes.
So, yes, under your guidance then, Eric, they adopted DWIS. So, but the control stuff was excellent, what they'd done, and they'd built on the rig that went before. So I guess the challenge for the new group is somehow coming up with hardware project that operate in parallel to the rig. It doesn't have to have a rig. Maybe it's a control system to do a specific thing. Yeah. For an example, yeah, and you're right, Blake. It's a combination of the students working together, electrical and then mechanical and so on. And the work coming out of robotics, so I've seen other student groups with mechanical engineers doing electrical stuff, and it's quite hilarious what happens. But the level has been pretty good in this group. So we don't need to go all virtual. Huh? That's just my point. It's good to get a mix in there, and if you have hardware, you attract students.
Hardware attracts students, but I mean, I think with such a heavy data science focus too, there's probably other facets that we could include as like similar but separate, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we just need some thought instead of just saying, hey, there's a rig and there's a virtual. Now we have little subcomponents of the rig and so on, of what we do. It could be downhole steering, it could be whatever.
Okay.
A bendable motor, I don't know.
Okay. Well, I think the long story short, if you will, for robotics is that we need a bit of support, just immediate around like functionally planning and supporting the competition. Number two, we need to make sure Enrique gets all the feedback just that we brought up around long-term vision and roadmap for the competition. And then I think we have a couple folks in the call that may be interested in the steering committee. So we need to make sure that that's on Enrique's kind of purview as well, so that we can start thinking for the future. Last but not least, Riam, to really give a good recap. essentially of everything we've already talked about from a marketing perspective and all the efforts that we have going on there, both on LinkedIn and everywhere else, really.
Yep. Do you have the next slide? There you go.
Yes. There we go.
Okay. Okay. So this is a kind of zoomed out view of all the different things happening. I know it's so colorful, but it makes sense to me because I'm trying to keep an eye on all the activities that are going on in the technical section. So I'm able to pick out content to feature, whether it's on or really on LinkedIn is all I'm using right now, but happy to expand more if it's emails or it's what have you. So, real quick, all the orange things, that's the Drillbotics stuff. So those are dates that I'm keeping eye on so that we can say, like, we can generate interest, right? Say like, hey, this is what's happening in Drillbotics. Stay tuned for the finalists who are going to be announced, that kind of thing to keep it interesting. Something with Drillbotics, just real quick, that Enrique has said to me that I keep in my mind is like, we have 3 stakeholders. It's the students that we want to get them interested in joining and get them a lot of visibility and that kind of thing. It's the professors or faculty, if you will, on the schools that are participating, because the students need their support. And then it's the sponsors. So I've got that in my brain of like how to talk about Drillbotics from a marketing perspective to support these stakeholders. The SPE Live, like Blakely said, there's one coming up on the 25th. We're going to feature Drillbotics. I'll moderate that one as well. So I'm tagging up with Enrique on that of like how we want to approach the topics and what we want to pull out of that one. As you guys know, the symposium is happening March 16th. So that is a very busy week. The Monday is the symposium, and then the Drillbotics booth is the Tuesday through Thursday. And then as Matt mentioned, the Friday is the DWIS strategy and user development meeting. So I'm going to like, that is a big, like, how do I get involved in DSATS, where there's a big way to do that, right? Multiple options for you there. Matt had mentioned, design that there's early planning going on, I believe, on an SP, like the next SPE digital forum. That's why I don't have a date. I just said May. Obviously, we have the ATCE event for next year as well. I'm getting kind of ahead, but those are the events and things going on that I'm keeping my eye on. So I say that to say this. You see how there's a lot of Drillbotics? That's because me and Enrique are talking. So Matt and Eric, any DWIS type of events, the demonstrations coming up, things like that, I would like to add that to this calendar as well, so I know what's happening so that we can talk about it. If there's any other thing, Blakely, when we announce the officers, anything that's happening in the regions, I'd like to add that to this calendar as well, so I know what to be talking about. That's the purpose of showing you guys this slide. If I don't have it on here, I'm not going to talk about it because I don't know what's happening. So let's put on there what's relevant. Okay. So to that effect, if there's anything on the top of your brain that we should talk about, like I'm happy to write it down right now and add it to the calendar. So Shashi, what you got?
Related to Drillbotics, so you have the end of competition, but I think sometime in August, September, we'll kick off the cycle for the next one, right?
Okay.
So we'd probably need some help in spreading the word on it.
Okay. Okay. So
maybe
basically
August,
it's, hey, teams,
September.
let's register.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Good. Anybody else? Eric, for DWIS, the demonstrations. So there's one tomorrow. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to post on that. I mean, I can post today. And then there's another one in, I think you said end of January. So if you can send me those events coming up, then I will add it to this.
Yeah, I will try to do that when the data are
Okay.
fixed. And there is also a live demonstration on our test rig, full test rig that will be happening the last week of February and the first week of March, where we'll be running for 2 weeks drilling operations with
Right.
Davis. So we can make that live available for people who want to assist.
Okay. Perfect.
Eric, is your demo tomorrow?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm honestly like that could be the post today. So I'm coming up on that. Actually, go ahead and you can click to the next one, Blakely. The methodology here. Actually, go to the next. No, this is good. No, sorry, go back. The methodology is there at the bottom. For sponsorship, I intend to post every other week on a Tuesday of like become a sponsor, like I did on Tuesday. And then my goal is every Thursday, something about DSATS. So I'm just calling them awareness posts, or maybe they're like, they could be a different call to action, like, hey, there's a DWIS demo going on tomorrow. Make sure you join, right? So that's every Thursday. So like, I'm constantly looking for content and stuff to post. So I'm happy, Eric, to make this post today on come listen to the demo. Are you good with that?
Absolutely, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right, so that being said, I didn't want to cut anybody off. If anybody else has events or like timelines or something, anything to add to that calendar, let me know. Anything? Not yet? Okay. So on this one, the new name, new look, new voice. So like this, like what you see on the right here is like the logo, the visual that I'm going to use on every post in one of the corners or what have you for that kind of brand consistency and new vibe type of thing. The calls to action that I have on my brain, again, is anything that's on that calendar, right? In general, it's join DSATS. And here's how to get involved, right? It's become a sponsor. It's register for the symposium. It's come see us at the Drillbotics booth. It's come to the DWIS meeting. And then Eric, it's and join in on these DWIS demos, that type of thing, right? So that's my anything else was what I kind of opened up in the previous slide. And then the campaign, like that's kind of where I'm looking at is this type of frequency to stay ahead, in front. So that in mind, like back to like sponsorship, Blakely, that's why I'm like, there's going to be more opportunities to feature our sponsors is what I'm saying. So, with that cadence in mind, like that's something that perhaps we can consider when we're advertising, become a sponsor, your logo here, like as we're doing these LinkedIn posts, that kind of stuff. Okay, next slide. Here's just kind of, again, look and feel type of things that I've been working on. So the sponsor one is the one that I sent out on Tuesday. Here's the breakdown of how we do it. And again, this is just based on how I understand like LinkedIn's like algorithms to work. We're gonna be posting often. And as we're posting often, LinkedIn does not like it when you take users away from LinkedIn, which is why you put links in the comments. Right. So I've got 3 parts to every post. It's the content, like we want this to be just enough information. And I know I can rely on Duort to like repost and add like all the details, which is totally fine. That works. And then for the media part, again, it's the new brand. It's going to be quotes. It's featuring sponsors. They're going to have infographics. These are things that I'm conjuring up in Canva and what have you. And then in the comments is where I'll add any links to like join this team. This is the Teams link as an example, Eric. I don't know if this is how this works, but here's the Teams link to join that meeting or that demo or what have you. I'll put any of those in this comment. So if you guys are wondering why I did it that weird way, it's because LinkedIn doesn't like it when you take its users away from LinkedIn. It doesn't like when you have links elsewhere. So again, this is just a glimpse of like what the vibe I'm looking at. Okay, next one. Okay, so I need more, I think, on this, but like, so obviously there's the revamp to the DSATS website. So there's sections that I added to that, which is the sponsors. And then for the events, like I'm now also adding in there like the webinars and all that. That's why like I want to add more events than we had before. All we had before was like the ATCE event type of thing. Like we want to add more stuff on there than just the big symposium. Like it's here's this demo, you can log in, that type of thing. I want to give more opportunities for people to get involved. So I'm going to be sprucing up the events section of the site. The reason I listed the DSATS and Art Symposium website is is to add the sponsors. What was that again, Blakely? I forgot what you and I were talking about. Because I don't think I know I'm not managing that site. I think that's through SPE. I don't even
Yes,
actually know.
and I think one of the last emails, John had already actually said he was going to send the sponsors images to Stacy so she can update the site.
Okay, so it's okay.
So
Gotcha.
the drilling conference website is managed by Stacy.
Okay.
If we wanted to put like the panelist photos on the website or the sponsor photos on the website, we just need to get with her and she'll update it quickly.
Okay, so that was more of a content thing. Sorry, I was just like reminding to myself. So Stacy manages the site, but what I can do is help send like, hey, can you put this on there as well? Like
Yes,
to kind of
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And honestly, you can reach out directly to her. It doesn't have to go through John. John just does her. So he's
Okay. Okay,
he's been
we'll do.
taking care of that for us. But
Okay. Yeah, that's right. That's what you were talking about, the panelists and the topics and things like that. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, cool. That is all I have. Any questions or feedback on the marketing?
No, you've been doing incredible. I'm
Thank you.
biased, but I think everyone has been like blown away by everything you've been putting together and really going back to like some of those membership numbers and everything and like a lot of the improvements that we've seen from like a large picture perspective is because of like the visibility that we've gotten and all of your efforts both with the website and with LinkedIn. So we all very much appreciate it.
Yay, good.
I'm
Thank
speaking
you.
for everybody here, but hopefully considering the emojis, I think we all agree.
Yay, thanks guys. Happy to do it and it's fun. So again, anything that's in your brain that's like, we'd like to talk about this, like let me know because it's happy to do it.
Okay, awesome. I think we're right at the 10 o'clock hour. I don't know if there's anything else. That was kind of all we had prepared today. And I think that's the first time we really ran perfectly on time. So we crushed it on the agenda.
Well done.
We will send out notes and all of the likes. I think we've got a lot of actions for today just around like things to add to marketing plan, feedback for Enrique, sponsorship thoughts for next week or next year rather, and how we manage 2026. I think we have probably a couple other actions that we can recap on to later, Riam, but
yeah.
Appreciate everyone's time. I know an hour and a half is a hard time to commit sometimes, but it was nice to be able to talk with you guys, especially before the end of the year. So
yeah.
Much
Well
appreciated.
organized lately. Good job.
Yeah. Well done, team. All right.
Well, happy holidays, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Happy
absolutely.
Happy
holidays.
holidays.
Happy holidays. We'll talk to you guys
Bye.
likely
Happy
next year.
holidays.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.